Now it's saying you're live in 23 hours.
Well, that's stupid because we're live now.
Did you get the buzz? I haven't gotten a buzz yet. Oh, I just got a buzz.
Yeah.
We're live.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's actually working now.
It sure is.
Sorry, guys. We had a 1 hour delay, apparently, that we did not know that we were not live. So we talked about a lot of fun stuff. You missed out.
Yeah.
I should have been here. What the hell?
Oh.
Yeah, so yeah, those parts will definitely be edited up and put out later on in the week, but we'll be here for a little bit of a chat and hangout with anyone who shows up into the chat here and has any questions or anything, unless we have anything else on the books to discuss.
Turns out we don't. We just stopped streaming right away. Nope, screw you guys.
Well, I mean, we were talking about several things. We talked about some Condor stuff, which we can flash up quick as far as the three knives that Paul just wants to kind of just toss a couple up on the screen to show what we were showing.
Do I?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
How many knives have you got sitting around you right now? How big of a deal is it? Come on, let's be honest here. A lot. The answer is a lot.
Do
All
the
of
ones in
them.
my pocket count?
In your pocket?
Yeah. They're around me. Literally. Off the hop right here, we got the Blue River NAF from Condor with its reconstituted turquoise.
The reconstituted backward stripe.
Yes. You're going to have to watch our video to understand what the hell that means.
You're going to have to tune in an hour ago when Joe screwed up.
That's it. Another one that we spoke about was the lost Roman knife that was found in an old riverbed in. You said it was what was it? The business district in London.
Yeah, like the financial district in London.
Financial district. That's the word I was looking for. And then we spoke a little bit about this bad boy here, which is the Plan A. And I'm going to say it again. You don't need a Plan B with this thing. It's a big old Bowie. And if you know anything about at least 3, if not the 4 of us, that's all you need is a big old Bowie.
You guys have piqued my interest on that thing.
It's a nice one.
There is multiple giggities when it comes to that knife.
It feels so nice. It'll chop so good.
At least 2 or 3 gigaties.
Just make sure you're chopping into softwood. Don't hit no hardwood.
If not 3. I mean, 4 and you're trying to catch your breath. I don't know if it's a 4 giggity knife, but like you're looking at least 2 to a 3 giggity.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
We don't have a scoring system for our new knives, so I'm gonna use giggities until we actually get back together.
Oh, we gotta replace that with something.
Is it 4 giggities out of what?
Well,
Is it like
know.
30 out of 5?
No, there's no limit. It's just, I mean,
We're not going to do like a 13 out of 10?
no. It's just how long the excitement lasts is when you're saying giggities, right? So
That's it. We actually do have 2 people here with us, which is awesome. Zinx EDC and Will to Survive. We really appreciate you guys sticking with us.
Yep.
It was a really fun stream that we had by ourselves accidentally. So
yeah, not super proud of that.
We apologize for that, but mainly Joe apologizes for that.
Yeah,
So-
not my finest moment. I do apologize.
I think in this specific case, you just blame YouTube and whitewash it by it's YouTube's fault.
It's still fun to blame Joe.
That is
Well,
true.
and on the YouTube note, I mean, YouTube does block a lot of things. So let's just say that they just chose not to stream us.
That does make me feel better.
And build to the conspiracy that probably isn't there.
There you go.
That sounds familiar.
So, since we've already spoken about all the things we were going to speak about, and we've got a couple guys in our group chat, what do you say? Throw out a question or 2 at us, and we'll see what we can come up with.
Mm-hmm.
Well, something I'll mention that we did mention in the last chat that everyone missed out on, is they were talking about mods, and mods you do your knives. I bought this secondhand. It was a 562 CF that had a flipper delete on it. So
I thought of that knife when we were
The
talking about
wrong
mods.
choice.
yeah, so you can flip it with your thumb. You can pop it out, and but the D10 is so strong on this thing that it's not necessarily the most comfortable thing to do. And I've theorized about doing a spidey hole that may or may not inflict with the stop pin, which is also the thumb stud, which might screw everything up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that I was going to say is those thumb studs are less thumb studs and more just blade stops, with how tight they sit to the scales and stuff.
Yeah,
Well,
they really kind of truly are, right? Like
there is no stop pin on that particular model anyway, is there? It's just the
It is
the thumb
stop
lugs?
pin is the thumb studs. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the stop pin is actually more so for like when it's closing and it's used there type of idea.
Right.
So I don't know. I would like to see it. I've even like drawn it up a bit on the computer or whatever to see the hole in it and see what it would look like. And it's not necessarily a unattractive knife. I just don't know if it would be a functional knife afterwards.
It's barely a functional knife now.
Oof.
For the record, did you see me pop it before? Like it's yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm well aware, but I've tried to pop it, and I'm not a huge fan. And I like my ZDs.
The detent and the lock bar, it's really hard to get off of with your thumb, but as a lefty, it's a lot easier than holding it as a righty, right? Like it's yeah. So your fingers on a righty are pinning that big time.
Oh, exactly.
Whereas on a lefty, I can actually get off of it a little bit and still fire
Yeah,
it.
you can.
But it eats my thumb like nobody's business because you got to fire it past that detent.
I think my feelings are just hurt because I like flippers, and Corbin took it
Dennis
off.
doesn't.
It's okay to be wrong. I mean, everyone's got to be wrong, right? So
You first.
oh, I was. You missed it out in the first video.
Oh, there you go.
I told you we all have to learn sometime, right?
Do you guys know what the CRKT Buku is? BUKU?
I feel like
yeah, I know that knife. Yeah.
They're talking about Zinx is talking about acid washing that blade.
Yeah, wouldn't be bad.
I wouldn't disagree with that. Yeah, for sure.
For
Yeah,
those
big orca
unfamiliar.
looking thing. Yeah.
it's kind
It
of
looks like an orca. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, it does. I was like, what the hell does that remind me of? That's totally what that is. Yeah, acid washing is kind of a fun, somewhat easy modification to do to a blade anyway. I think you can improve the looks of most knives when you do that, but
A lot of them, for sure.
yeah.
The new, what was it? The limited edition Link in M390 with carbon fiber. That acid wash was gorgeous.
Mhm.
It's the knockout, man. Know your knives. Jesus Christ. And the one that we may or may not get to check out is the bare knuckle after that.
There you
So
go. I'm just going to say that I did it on purpose so that you could have your part to say as well.
well, I like the bare knuckle more because it's a ball bearing. It's KBT ball bearing instead of spring assist, whereas the knockout is the spring assist, right? So
I'm right there with you for that.
I don't know if Cutting Edge is actually going to get the bare knuckles. I hope they do. I might talk to some people about some things, man about a horse type of thing, and see if we can get them.
I'm having a hell of a time trying to read the gentleman's name, because it's a name of a place and there's a lot of I's in the word.
It's Justin.
Justin?
Yeah,
Justin.
No, his YouTube name is Infinite Gunworks.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us, Justin. Glad to
He's
have you, brother.
just talking about how he missed the first half. And he doesn't realize that everybody missed the first half of this
Yeah.
video.
You're
We're
not the
all
one who was
assholes.
late.
We're all a bunch of assholes. And we
But he is looking at watching our videos played back at 1.75 speed. So I can only imagine how high-pitched my voice is going to be for that. And,
Well, apparently he just put up that YouTube pitch corrects for the speed, so even Kermit sounded normal.
Oh, too
I don't
bad.
like that at all.
Have you never watched a YouTube video, Paul, with the speed pumped up?
No.
I never have.
Oh man.
No. I have auditory processing issues in the first place. If you speed that shit up,
yeah.
you won't understand a fucking word that's said.
I did forget that is a bit of a factor for you. Fair enough. No,
Yeah.
what,
My laugh now sounds like an airsoft machine gun.
got a Woody Woodpecker thing going on. Terrifying.
Why is it every time I take a sip, somebody has to make a joke?
Because we're assholes. I think we've been over this.
That's fair.
It checks out.
It definitely does check out.
So knives, you say?
Mhm.
Nice. Getting on that, I might as well talk about Nigel doubling his collection. We dabbled on it in the
Let's have a
beginning.
chat
when
about
no one
that,
heard
for sure.
us. And we didn't dabble on that in depth. But just for the record, Nigel decided to double his goddamn collection by pulling out all his safe queens.
Well,
And he's
we
just
dabbled on
enjoying
that last week in depth.
We did.
Yeah.
In depth. But, like, what else is there? You've got Griptilians with M4. You've got mini barrages with green and black M. Like, fuck. Man.
Yeah. There's the Griptilian with some nice red barrel spacers.
It's a nice grip.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that one.
That was
Like,
M4,
I know
right?
what you have as far as what you're just going to be throwing out, flashing at people, and there's some
There's the
lit,
Rift,
man.
the Fat,
Ah,
the Twill. I love that one.
The fact of the sequel.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm actually surprised how much I like the bronzed out Presidio.
Fair enough.
Dude, yeah, underrated.
Yeah.
It's an underrated knife. After I started playing with it, I loosened it off a little bit. Yeah.
Both are crazy. See, that thing might be the prettiest knife that Benchmade's ever made.
Mhm.
I disagree, sir, but we'll
that specific one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if any of
You
us
didn't
need
see-
to go to
you
the
didn't
Knife
see-
Addicts group, it's going to be Dennis, not me.
Yeah.
We just had a comment up here from Will to survive that I need to go to the Knife Addict support group. No, it's Dennis.
Dennis, by far.
So if
Hey, man,
yeah.
I lead the group. Okay.
It's all a ploy to get the other members' knives.
Like
Yeah, totally is. You give them up, you ruin, and then they go into my collection for sure. Like just bags upon bags upon bags. We had a couple people over last night that didn't realize just the extensiveness of the collection, and like I've got a shoe hanger on the back of my door that has fixed blades that are just like the ones I like to wear. That's not even like small fixed blade overall. Those are just ones that I'll be like, yeah, I'll carry that today, type of thing. And
How many-
some of the slots are doubled.
A lot of the slots are doubled.
And for people thinking he's talking about like, oh, you know, like just a fairly decent sized shoe rack for 3-4 pairs of shoes. No, this thing.
the whole door.
Yeah.
Full
Yeah.
width, full length.
It's one of those ones you can buy off of like eBay, Amazon, blah 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 type of thing that are like the 24 shoes that you can just like slot in, and it's made for 24 pairs of shoes. And
Or
it
apparently 48 knives.
is built. No, it's not. It's not.
38, okay.
But between that and the pocket knives, which I have down here, that's 2 briefcases worth. The gentleman looked at his girlfriend and said, "You think I have a problem?"
Everything's relative.
Yep.
How many like stick bags of knives do you
6.
have?
Six.
By yourself. That's yours.
And they're filled to the gills. Yes.
Okay. And how many do you have, Nigel?
I've got 2.
2? Okay. I don't feel so bad then with my 1.
And
Yeah.
those are just fixed
I'm
blades
not
and
trying to compete with
machetes and
that.
like that's not pocket knives. The pocket knives are in the black bags and
100%. I'm
yeah.
talking about my the big stuff that I don't like have out right now. all of my throwing stuff and
Mhm.
big machetes and stuff like that, or fill a stick
Well,
bag.
and as you can see behind me, I did start to put up some bigger stuff
His
around the
house is
house
an
as
armory.
well. So,
Do
Yeah.
any of you guys kind of get that feeling from the Boondock Saints when they're filling up their bag with all the gear? Every time you pull out one of those bags, just like,
Oh yeah,
all right, then get your stupid fucking rope then. Like,
yeah. I got it handy. It's right over there.
it's so good.
Shaddy referred to the scene, I believe it was in Predator, when Arnie got all like guns and he had just like the duffel bags of guns. He's like, this is what I feel like right now as I'm
Yeah.
Was that Terminator or was that Commando? Because Commando, he's got a bunch of guns.
Maybe it
And,
was
like, a
Commando.
rocket
I
launcher and
thought
stuff.
it was. Yeah. No, maybe you're right. Yeah. He's just duffel bags of guns as he's like walking out, type of thing. And one of our buddies used a bunch of our knives for like a music video that he did, and like whatever type of thing. And as he's hauling them out, that's when he commented, "I feel like Arnie in like Commando type of thing as you're bringing down all the duffel bags full of gear." It's
We just
slightly
got we just got an absolute great question from a new person that's actually showing up in our group chat
Mhm.
for the first time. And I think we probably all know him, Patty's Potato Peelers.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you, brother.
Damn right. What's going
Thanks
on,
for
brother?
coming out.
Good to see you.
He wants to know what's the worst knife you have but can't let go.
Oh,
That's a great question. Great
wow!
question.
You're making me think.
Hold on one second.
It's not too hard for me because I didn't really get in. Like, I didn't get an extensive knife collection until I got into the knife business and like was working in a knife store. So I don't really have any low end gas station special stuff.
Mm.
So like, really, my lowest end knife I have is the D2 Griptilian in my mind. So it's not like I really have a worst knife.
Yeah. It is the knife that you are willing to throw at a target, though.
This is true.
For my answer, I think that says it all right there. If you can read it,
Oh,
stainless
geez.
china.
Yeah.
This was. It's not the first knife I ever got, but this is the oldest knife that I have in my collection. This knife I've had since I was 12. It was a gift from a boyfriend of my sister's back in the day, and like I carry this thing fucking everywhere.
The ones I have sitting here, I'm gonna go with my Red Class Benchmade Pika, half serrated. That tells you something
That's old
Yep.
school.
about the evolution of Dennis, because Dennis doesn't do half serrated.
No.
So yeah, the first knife that I picked up when I started running the shop, I've thought about parting with it a couple times because people have liked it, but it's just one of those ones where I'm just like, no, I just need to. I think I need to hang on to that one just to remember the
Where it all
roots.
started.
The
Yeah.
roots, yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I think that one for me, it's probably a $25 knife.
Will to Survive is confirming that we're talking about Commando for that scene with all the guns and stuff.
Okay.
What about you, Joe?
It's a tie. If we're going to include things like a Swiss Army knife, this is probably the lowest quality pocket knife that I still carry with some regularity that I would actually be quite sad if I got rid of it. It was super useful when I had it in college. It was wicked. But in terms of the worst knife I have, that's like just a dedicated folding knife that I don't think I'd ever get rid of. It's actually the Crossbones from CRKT.
That's a good answer.
It's
It's a terrible knife.
But well, it's not terrible. It's Oz 8, but for the price, yeah, this is definitely overpriced. But it's by far one of my favorite designs, and that's stupid that I'm still saying that. But I love this thing. Yeah.
CRKT needs to figure out what's a budget steal and what's not a budget steal because
Jesus,
their brains are really mixed up right now.
I'm just hoping that this, like, they're doing a lot of stuff in D2. I'm hoping that this comes out in D2. I don't care if it's tactical black, whatever. I'll buy it. I'll buy it again.
It's going to be $170 or $180.
I don't care. I love this knife.
You've got a D2 pillar that's half the price of the knife that you're holding right now.
Yep.
that's steel and G10 frame lock with a D2 blade, and you're telling me that Oz 8 with an IKBS and aluminum.
I'm
is
not
worth
saying
it.
shit. I'm not saying it's
the
worth
amount
it,
of milling
but
that's on that aluminum, I don't agree with the price being that much different, but I can understand it being more than if it was a steel handled knife with just steel slabs.
yeah.
Okay, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing, though, with IKBS. IKBS is not even a cage system. They throw a bunch of random goddamn ball bearings inside their fucking knives, like shower them in, and they're like, "That's enough. Close it up. Let's do it."
Yep.
Like,
The thing about that is, though, if you lose one ball bearing, the system still works.
yeah.
You only need
But-
3, yeah.
As far as precision machining and stuff compared to a cage system.
Oh,
Again,
yeah.
it's cutting corners on every other company that's got a ball bearing system out there. They're
And this
cutting
is-
corners, and they're still
And they're still
asking
expensive.
a premium just because it has it.
Yeah, absolutely. And but that's why I mean, between this and the Swiss Army knife, the reason why this was the worst pocket knife is for the price, what you're getting kind of sucks. But for me, the design is just so good, and I like it so much, I'm okay with it. I wouldn't rebuy it, so I'm gonna make sure I don't lose it. You know?
Yeah. I got to make an honorary mention, though. I only know it as the Defender, and it is a class of knives from the 1980s that if you look up the Defender knife, they're all the exact same. And it was one of my dad's, and I'll never throw it away for that reason, but it is a piece of shit.
I remember seeing that knife online a lot, and then just being super shocked that you had one. I'm like, oh, that's like an antique. It's
Part of the reason I'm going to keep it is because of that factor that people know what it is. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
been around forever. Given PNW actually has a good question for us. What's your favorite / best knife to carry out of your collections right now?
favorite knife to carry.
Favorite knife to
I gotta
carry?
have some time to think. You boys go ahead.
Well, I'm going to jump back on this guy.
Yeah, that's
Right
fair.
That
answer
was
then.
my answer a couple weeks ago when we were questioned what would be the one knife out of our collection we would keep, and that's the one that came up. So it's fitting that it's the same one for this answer too.
Fair.
Not the
I
Shotgun
also
Valet.
answered Nigel's knife.
Good answer. Good answer.
Nice.
Ooh.
I guess.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, sure. I guess for me, it's actually a tie. No, you know what? No, the Sinkovich. I think I had this as my carry knife last recording session we did here. This thing, I've just rediscovered it in such a nice way. It's like it's so fun to fidget with. It's a great form factor. It's a little thick behind the edge, but for more abusive tasks, I actually kind of like that. Less chance of edge deformation. And I'm careful with my tools, but not always as careful as I could be. But with how lightweight this thing is, like half of it's carbon fiber, it's going to be lightweight.
Yeah.
It has a nice splash of color. I love those standoffs. Every version of this knife I like, including Paul's ginormous 4-inch version, but
I have an all titanium 450 like the all titanium 450 sitting in the back room right now that I haven't paid for yet, but it's gonna happen this week.
You're
Like,
pulling the trigger?
I've
shit.
wanted a companion to the big one for a while, and I think that's the all titanium version is the one that I want.
Nice. Yeah, it's just been hard to beat. I think you're gonna love it.
That's it. What about you, Dennis?
I'm at the end here. I don't know. Favorite knife right now and favorite knife overall is hard as hell. Because honestly, like the carbon fiber mini onslaught, it's got the
Cool
blue.
knife.
Mhm.
It's got the really gaudy silver chromed, black chromed. I don't know.
It's not gaudy.
That is
It's
the one
awesome.
thing about that knife that ruins it is the pocket clip.
No, it's
It's
awesome.
It's gaudy as hell. It's gaudy as hell, but it's nice.
Oh,
But I've been falling in love with my small knives again, and things like a mini H&K or
Yep.
like a
Yep.
ballet type of thing. Like right now, I don't know. There's something about the small stuff that I'm kind of like really digging again. And maybe that's in anticipation of a mini Super Freak, which is way overpriced. Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah.
Way too money
It's,
for that goddamn knife.
it's S90 in carbon fiber. It falls right in line with other knives in there.
I know, but it's a mini. It's a mini. It should have a mini price.
But it's
But I understand where they're coming from.
but is it that much more mini in terms of material usage? Like,
okay, just for the record, does Nigel and Joe know what the price is for the mini
I
Super
don't.
Freak? 310 American.
American.
Yeah.
what's the big guy going for?
310 American. What's that?
What's the big guy going for?
375 Canadian or 275 Canadian, I believe.
Okay.
So,
So-
250,
You're looking about
260.
As
Go ahead.
far as like Paul's question for like the material usage, I want to see a weight comparison between the carbon fiber 940 Osborne and the new Mini Freak,
Yep.
Yep.
and see
and it's
comparing
right in-
just the amount of material, the price point between the
weight
two.
wise. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's
I bet you
that'd
the
be a
mini
good way to
freak has
compare.
that. I bet you the mini freak's heavier just because it's a thicker, wider blade.
hmm
I think the stock is actually thicker than a 940, and it's like it's a deeper blade with a thicker kind of saber grind to it type of thing.
Yeah.
So I bet you the mini is still a heavier blade compared to the 940.
So that's kind of what I first thought of when speaking about the price point of that is like, well, what other carbon fiber S90 offerings do they have? And
All
the price
right,
point of
fine.
that. And
Throw logistics at me. Fine. It's still a tough pill to swallow.
S90V, for the record, is expensive to buy raw, so I'm not too shocked about the price bump over M4, even though it's a much smaller knife.
But geez, man, like
Yeah.
It hurts.
when you're giving people the big one and then you're telling them the small one's going to be more expensive, like how tough is that pill to swallow?
yeah,
Like
You
I
gotta
don't know, man.
You gotta look at the materials, but I do agree with you. If they were made of the same materials, it would especially hurt.
It's
always
like
gonna be a
it's like
hard
the
sell.
It's like the Cebu. It's a fucking beautiful knife, but for the
Mhm.
price that it is, like
You're-
it's the reason Nigel doesn't own it yet.
You're paying
Yep.
for that machine, and you're
Guaranteed.
paying for all that fiddly work that goes into making it, right? Like,
Mm,
but not
Because
every.
Nigel wants that knife. There's no doubt about
true
it.
story.
Yeah.
You've talked repeatedly, and you don't have it in your collection because just for 20 CV and the wood cutouts and the wood inlays, it's still a tough pill to swallow because of how small that knife is.
Yep.
So when people are looking at price points, regardless of like quality of materials or thickness of materials or whatever, you're still looking at this package that's
Mhm.
like, okay, it's this compared to this type of like,
We were talking about the cold steel gross messer and the regular messer and how similar those price points are, and how
Yeah.
we want to have the little one on the wall, but having that little one there is just a direct comparison to the big guy. And people go, well, it's an extra foot of sword. I'll take the big one. It's the same
For
price, but I get more blade.
for a $10 to $20 difference, why wouldn't you? Yeah.
It's part of the reason why I bought the Sinkovich as my first knife, because it was a big friggin' knife, and I was like, okay, I can understand that extra cost. It's an easier pill to swallow. The thing that I was going to say, though, is that my usual answer is that the newest knife in my collection is usually my favorite thing to carry in the moment. But I think if you look over, say, the last year and a half, the knife that I've actually had in my pocket the most is probably my Anthem. The Benchmade Anthem is
Yeah.
such a good little knife. And whether you like the weird penis clip on the back side of it or not, it's a good carry. It does a good job.
I've seen people that have circumcised that clip and come up with something better. So
I
I'm just
thought about
saying.
asking Benchmade to see what it would cost me to get a spare clip so that I could modify one, and if I don't like it, I still have the other one.
You can at least go back. Yeah.
And if you like the spring clip on it, you're wrong. I don't care what you say. A spring clip on that knife just looks weird to me. It doesn't look right. That was for Mr. Fisk, by the way.
Yeah. We kind of figured it was.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a milled
We've
clip
run
is
out of
just a better
questions.
choice.
we need folks to give us some more questions to answer.
You bet. The other ones, honorable mention, I'll give is the pleroma, because I'm still throwing that in my right pocket way too much. It's always there. And because it's a right hand only, that's how I'm justifying carrying 2 knives, is because I obviously need to carry the pleroma, but I also need to carry a left hand carry. So
Do I need justification to carry 2 knives?
Yes.
What if you have more?
we always have more. But yeah. So
Like I'm not completely Joe'd out here. And I'm using Joe as a verb, like tacked out, like tactical.
Oh no! Don't put me on the same shelf
Sorry,
as
buddy.
that
It's already
bullshit.
happened.
it's true.
Crap.
He Britta it.
I used to carry 1, and then 2 happened, and then this happened, and it all came about because every time that I was carrying knives around Joe, he had more than me, and I was like, oh well, then I'm not the weird one here. In this exact situation, I'm the more normal of the two, so clearly
Yeah.
I need more knives.
See, that's funny because since all the shutdown, there hasn't been much of a need to put on real pants and go outside and do stuff, at least out in public, too much. So I haven't been carrying as many knives around day to day. I gotta say, it feels pretty weird. It's not even so much. Yeah, it's very strange.
Well, like I said today, this thing, like an ounce is what this thing weighs. Like that's what I threw in my pajama pants, which basically I had on all day while it was raining,
Nice.
and it was fantastic. Yeah, but I still had a knife in my pocket because I'm weird like that. Like it's So
I just realized that we've talked about the bug out in the past and how it's been winning the lightest knife on the market game. The Lucky has won that game long since.
and
I mean,
even the
it's
lucky
half the weight of a bug.
this is the Lucky 1. The Lucky is a double blade, which is actually even better. But
Sure.
The only thing that I'm going to throw in there that might make it so the Lucky's not winning is locking versus non-locking blades.
Yeah.
Potentially. But it's half the weight.
Yeah,
just for the record, my skinny orangutan hands can actually get like 4.
I'm glad you're finally admitting to them. They went from apple pickers to orangutan. I like it.
No, we're still apple pickers just because grandpa. Yeah,
That's it. Just want to give a quick shout out to John in Mississauga. Good evening, bud.
Good day.
He's saying that he loves both the 450 and the 452 because he's correct. Those knives are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed.
Well, I mean, you've been thinking about that 450 for a while, and my older brother picked it up, and as soon as he did, I think that was actually the knife that he's like, if my wife doesn't get me a knife for Christmas, I'm coming in to buy it. And then he came in 2 days after Christmas, and there was some Boxing Week sales and whatever type of thing, and he bought it because it's the right thing to do. So
damn right it is.
The 450, I think it's just the 450. I don't think they call it a TI.
I don't believe so.
Which is weird because all their other variations, they do throw a TI on the ZT like coating, right? So
that one is the original, though, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it's not.
450
CF, 452 CF.
No. But I'm saying for the 450 size bracket.
When they went smaller
before the carbon fiber. Did it not?
Yes, I do believe that the all titanium was the original smaller version.
Yeah.
When they released the smaller versions. Yes. And then they came out with the carbon fiber and then the Persian and then the TI version of the Persian and then the bigger Persian. And then
The big old Persian. John in Mississauga has given us hell for carrying multiple knives, saying he only carries one. He's got his multi-tool in his backpack and he's good to go. Which, I mean, that's not the wrong choice. That's definitely an easier conversation with a police officer than me or Joe at any point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Out of the 4 of us, I'm definitely the most minimalistic for my carry.
Yeah.
Like you normally have go for it.
If John from Mississauga isn't aware of, we all work in a knife shop.
So which makes it a lot easier to
any point in time we have a business card on us saying, hey, this is what I do for a living. It's our job to promote this stuff, but it's also what we live and breathe. So the running joke is it's a lifestyle, not a job. So
I think we actually had a conversation like that yesterday, Nigel.
Yep, that we did.
Yeah. Given PNW is curious what our thoughts on the new Benchmade Auto 9400 is.
My thoughts are we're Canadian. We're never going to touch it.
Yes. And it makes me sad because I want one so bad.
Which one?
Thing is.
What was
I think it's the
9400?
940 Auto.
Oh, right.
The one they just autoed.
Yes. I want it because the 940 has been one of my favorite Benchmade designs for years. But yeah, like Nigel says, never be able to touch one.
Go ahead.
I was going to say my father, it's going to be his same reaction when he goes down to the States because he lives right close to the U.S. border, living in Canada, and he goes down a lot, and he has friends down there that are a little more into knives, and it's going to be the exact same reaction to when he had the Buck 110 Auto come out last year or the year before or whatever it came out. He's like, "Oh, I can show my younger son something that he doesn't get to play with," type of thing, right? And that's going to be the conversation I have about the 940 Auto is that Dad got to play with it before I did, and that
as it should.
It's funny you mentioned that is the fact that I feel the same way about the 940 Auto that I do about the Buck 110 Auto. I kind of want one because it's basically because it's an auto and we can't have them, and the things that you can't have are the things you want the most, I guess. But
I think out of those two, I would take the 940 Auto for a functioning knife, but I would take the Buck 110 Auto because of the long history of people converting those two autos.
Yep.
Buck actually came out with their own, right? Like, so that was an aftermarket mod since the 80s, is turning your Buck 110 into a switchblade.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Zinc CDC is also asking, you guys can't even own one? No, we can't. It's up to 10 years in prison, brother.
Right.
It's not worth even thinking about.
We should probably clarify
here. They won't give us 10 years in prison. They won't do it. They'll slap us on their hands and they'll take it away from us, and very rarely will it. But
you got to be doing.
Yeah.
You got to be doing a lot of other stupid stuff in order for things to go 10 years in jail badly for you. But we should probably clarify that, like, in the States, from what I understand, different counties you can actually like own a butterfly knife or a switchblade, but you can't carry it. In Canada, the federal laws basically supersede everything else. So
it goes across the board.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you are. It's the same rules across the board. So we can't have those or anything else that's cool.
And we can get them up here, but they're being so strict right now, even about knives that are technically legal in our country, that the chance of an automatic or a balisong or something like that going through is so unlikely right now, because they're being uptight about knives that are legal in our country, let alone knives that are illegal. So you might be able to get one through to own or whatever, but the risk of actually doing it, I don't think the pros outweigh the cons. So we're just happy that the access lock is smooth and we can play with it like we can, right? Like it's so.
That's actually a great point that Patty's Potato Peelers kind of mentioned, is the 940's fidget factor would almost be ruined by the auto.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question on the closing, because you'd have to like force it closed, right?
It's like playing with an assist. It's just not that much fun. You got to fight with it to get it closed.
Yeah, and on the note of the assist, we can have stuff that is spring-loaded, but we have to move the blade to make the blade come out. We can't have automatic knives in Canada.
Yeah, so button-activated, automatic, centrifugally opens, it's all falls under the same category. But assisted, because we have to actually touch the knife blade to open it, and then the spring takes over, Canada says that's cool for some weird reason. So we're going to take what we can get, because chances are it's going to get more strict, not less. And we've all experienced that in the last couple of years with assisted opening and having problems with them and whatever, right? So, but yeah, I think he's onto something, Patty, with the 940 factor and any access lock factor. anytime you do throw an assisted in, it's no sit there by the computer and flick your knife open or while you're watching TV or whatever it may be.
That's exactly it.
Yeah. I think the only way it becomes more fidget friendly is if they were to do an OTF variant of the 940, which
Yeah, no.
I'll play with that.
Joe, can you mute yourself?
No.
Damn it.
I just want to jump in really quick and say see you later to Will to Survive. He's going to take off now. So
Yeah, take care. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks
Yeah.
for joining us, guys.
Thanks for coming by.
And John in Mississauga has a good point, which has definitely been my mentality in the last couple of years for the most part, outside of fixed blades, is I'm just not ordering knives out of the States for the most part. It's
Yep.
I'd much rather go to a Canadian realtor that it's here. I know it's there. I can go and pick it up. Almost like the cutting edge.
Hey, speaking of.
There's a shameless plug. Yeah, for sure.
Just bringing it all back around. But I should say I have ordered stuff out of the States. My I don't have it with me over here. My Lion Steel SR1 came out of Blade HQ, and it came across the border super fast because they forgot to ship it for almost a week.
And I don't know if Justin's actually still with us, but the Lion Steel SR2 actually I got off of Justin because he basically ordered it and he said, if I don't like it, do you want it? And I pretty much sight unseen said yes after playing with Paul's bigger one. Yes, I want the smaller one. Yes, I do. So, and he was debating on colors and I'm like, I don't care. All of the colors I'm down with. So, yeah.
I'm not even going to touch any of that bigger one, smaller one conversation. I'm just going to leave it as it is.
But you did talk
I'm going
about it.
to let your words speak for themselves.
They
And
really
they
did.
did.
They really did, yeah. The best part is, let's just rub it in here, is the smaller one does have Schliepner steel.
Yes. As opposed to the D2 of the larger guy, which,
Yeah.
how do you feel about that Schliepner?
I put it in an XHP category.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Schliepner's got to be German, right? That's got to be a German word. It sounds German to me.
It might be a bowler steel, which is, yeah.
I want to say it was either German or Austrian.
I
For some
mean,
reason, that's popping in my head.
it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other,
Yeah.
right?
Well, an Austrian would be the bowler, because Bowler Uldenholm is the Swedish Austrian company together, right?
Ding, ding,
like,
ding. We have a winner. It's Swedish.
There's a certain
Look
way
at us
that,
knowing things.
that Nigel says Schliepner, and every time he says it, he gets a little bit taller. I forget. Schliepner.
Schliepner.
That's how you enunciate it properly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
It's really just that he's a marionette. There's like his puppet
Yanked up by the
strings.
strings.
Don't reveal my secrets.
Don't talk about the
That's why
strings.
he's got so much extra beard is it hides the fact that his mouth isn't moving quite right.
We're rocking it Bernie at weekend at Bernie style.
Yeah.
As I'm trying to take a drink of water. God.
Yeah. The only knives I've ever thought about bringing over from the States were slip joints or fixed blades. Anytime it's a folder with a locking mechanism, I get kind of antsy about it.
We got a person here out of the States giving PNW saying that he lives in the States but brings knives over to his friends in BC. So that's probably where he got the idea that they were allowed to own them as long as they weren't carrying them.
Yeah. People will tell you things so that they can have things.
They sure will. You definitely don't want to get caught coming across the border with one, even if you are American. They'll just send your ass back home at the very least.
They might just take it away and even let you through. You can play ignorance. And go pleading ignorance goes a long way, for sure. But it's not necessarily the recommended way to do it. But, I mean, yeah.
Depending on which auto it is, right? I'm not going to be like, hey, take the Microtech out of my hands. That's cool.
Yeah.
I've talked to mothers that didn't realize their 16-year-old son convinced them to bring balisongs back from Mexico. And
oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And brought them back and completely innocent, and they're in Canada and now to this day. But she had no idea that they were completely a prohibited weapon until I informed her that her 16-year-old son convinced her to smuggle illegal weapons into the country. So
Not realizing what that would have meant for his mother's ability to travel at any point.
But but realistically speaking, because that happens all the time, Canada, for the most part, slaps you on the hands and said, "Hey, you shouldn't have had that. We're taking it, but continue on your way," and that's all you get.
Yeah.
So when it comes to criminal time, punishable time, things like that, it's usually repeat offenders. It's people that are actually trying to smuggle. It's things like that.
I wasn't even thinking about that so much as if you go across the border and you get caught trying to smuggle something in, the next time you go over the border, guaranteed you're getting stopped and you're getting searched.
Your name may or may not be red flag for sure, right? But
100%.
Yeah.
As far as inhibiting travel and traffic, it doesn't really that much. Yeah. So.
And John in Mississauga is saying right here that he lives about, unfortunately, he lives about 20 minutes away from a knife store that's opening back up tomorrow. So I'm curious what the new knife that he's picking up is.
Yeah, for sure.
He's going to buy something new, let's be honest here.
Yeah. What have you got your eye on? Because we all have something, or multiple somethings.
That's it. And while we wait for that answer from John, Patty's Potato Peelers wants to know if you could promote one knife for somebody starting out, a newbie, a new kid or something like that, getting into the knife world. What's the first knife to be like, this is the one, buy this, and everything else will flow from there?
I'm going to say Griptilians. Whether the large or the small, depending on what fits the person, but as far as like a really nice bang for the buck, intro level, awesome knife, yeah, I'd go Griptilians.
For sure. What about you guys? Use guys.
Well, I mean, for me, it's more camping for a lot of kids' first knife, and so you go more fixed blade, and I've always said a Mora.
Yeah.
And a Mora on your hip, if it's the red handled or if it's the plastic handled basic or a clipper or whatever, I think that's the best cheap knife you can possibly give someone starting out that wants to get into knives. So
that's it. What about you, Giuseppe?
I learned with Swiss Army knives as a kid, so it's tempting to say go with a Swiss Army knife. There's a lot of extra tools you'll find useful. The main blades themselves aren't bad. You will learn how to sharpen, and you will learn how to not cut yourself by having a blade fold on your fingies.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have multiple scars from those stupid knives.
But for from one of the major companies, something like that. However you want to pronounce the name, Rook. They're coming out with a lot of affordable, high-quality blades using stuff like 14C Sandvik, which is a very tough steel with decent edge holding. They're using ball bearings. They're using washers, G10 in a lot of models. That's a good place to start.
Rook's a great brand in general.
But if you'd rather keep it maybe if you're in the States and you want to keep buying American-made, or you're in Canada and you want to keep it North American, then I'd go with Nigel's option. Yeah, get a Griptilian. You're going to be happy with it.
Once again, Joe answers 3 answers instead of 1.
I'm going to do Joe one better.
Remember what I still think Swiss Army knife's best choice, but yeah.
I'm going to just say the first choice that I was going to say was a Griptilian. The next one, because that was taken, was a Mora. I was going to say Rook because they're a great bang for your buck. And because all of those are already taken, I'm going to say the M16 from CRKT, or even the Pillar.
Yeah, Pillar's a good option. Yeah, for sure. For me, honorable mentions for folding knives would be things like a Kershaw Shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
That's not great, but ergonomically it fits a lot of people, and especially a lot of young people's hands if they're getting up into that beginner knife stage. The liner lock might be kind of fussy, but then even one of the Rook slip joints, something like that, would be maybe a good option as well, right? So yeah.
And on the just in line with what Nigel was saying about the Griptilian, the Delica, which is Spyderco's kind of version of,
Mhm.
would fall in line with that same thing as well. It's a good bang for your buck. If you break it or you lose it, it's not the end of the world, and it'll do some good work for you.
Mhm.
And Justin's making fun of the way we say Rook. I don't care. It's
Rake.
Rake, Rook, Ruiki.
He's got Roiki. I don't know.
All of us. No, it's rake. They want you to like rake the leaves type of bullshit is
Yeah.
how they want you to pronounce it.
I don't care. It's spelled Ruike, and
Look
that's
at
how
it phonetically.
It's like,
and-
is that how that's spelled? That's silly.
I mean, if you want to make an argument for Rookie, I'm not going to say it that way. But I'll let you say it that way.
Well, thank you, Paul. I'm going to be calling it that from now on. Rookie.
I've been hearing a lot of customers come in asking about the Rookie knives recently, so
That's wonderful. Oh, did you say? Oh yeah, the rakes are over here.
yes.
Try to be subtle about it.
John and Mississauga, excuse me, responded. He's looking for something purplish, as he pulled the trigger on a purple Olight SR11 baton from Drop.
Well, as soon as you say purple, you got to go Wee knives.
Mhm.
Have you seen how many purple variations Wee knives have in their collection? Like
That Wee knives makes, it's really, really like flat, pretty. It's purple, but I think it's the Keen.
The Keen? That sounds.
Nobody else knows.
No. The Keen does sound familiar.
oh, that's the Laconico knife.
Yeah.
The Keen Laconico makes it with
Groove,
purple.
middle of the
I know
handle,
what you mean.
leaf-shaped blade, kind of.
Okay, that's
think
not the one I'm thinking of. Then it was the one that Advanced Knife Bro did the review of. The one that he's talking about how purple the handle was and everything else, and it's one of his favorite knives.
That was a Wee knife.
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out
In the purple variety or whatever it was called, right? Like it was, yeah.
I got them mixed up with the Keen in my head, and
That's all right. Again, I'm going to go back to Amora just because they came out with the purple Eldris not too long ago.
I got one of those over there.
Yeah. So they also came out with a burnt orange, and I wish it had been Rex 45, but it
A Rex 45 Eldris.
but they came out with a burnt orange. I think the color handle was literally called burnt orange. So initially, my brain just went, "Ooh."
I mean, outside of that, for purple, you can get a nice purple Delica.
Yeah.
But if you're going to buy a knife, I would say buy a Wii. If you can get your hands on them.
Yeah. As much as I like the color purple, I don't think I have any knives that came purple.
Came out of the factory purple? You don't own a Wii knife, do you?
No, I don't. And there's a lot of models that have caught my eye recently. There was the same guy who designed the Urban Trapper for Boker, and why can I not remember the Dennis knows the designer's name. And I can't remember the name of the Wii knife either, but it's this stupid brick-looking thing, and I want it. I'll see if I can pull up a picture here, because I was looking at a review of it. But Wii makes some excellent stuff.
Justin's giving us hell again in the group in chat here, saying, "You guys telling me you can't pronounce, and then it's just Chinese characters?" No. I think your tic-tac-toe board fell apart. I don't know. I can't help that.
Okay, Justin came in one time and actually sat down with me and explained how to actually spell or pronounce Reiki. And there's no way that I'm going to pronounce it how he wants me to, which is probably how I pronounced it right there, and it'll never happen again. So
accidentally happened, and that's the one time.
Yeah, I understand where he's coming from, but
a quick shout out. I don't know who I'm waving to, but a quick shout out to Patty's Potato Peelers. It's 4 a.m. there, so he's heading off to bed.
Cool. Thanks for joining us, buddy.
Hell yeah,
Take care,
brother.
man.
Yeah, and then also on that note, we've been going for almost an hour here.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've got lots of video
we can
going
think
on.
about color difference pretty quick here, I think.
I'm thinking so, yeah. We got a hour of content that didn't go up on the stream that will be coming out this week, as well as this hour here that will come out as well.
I think we should let the guys know here that there is a bunch of content that they would not have seen here that's already pre-recorded. In-depth conversation about the condors and answering some of the questions that we had over on Instagram. So you guys should definitely come back throughout the week and give that stuff.
And we're just once again proving hashtag Joe sucks.
Yeah.
So
True story.
And
How many tallies
Just for-
against me is this now?
and just to build your confidence, Dennis, you still didn't say root right.
There you go.
there you go. Nice.
It's a hard H sound.
Hard H. I wasn't phlegmy enough with my
Yeah.
H's, apparently. Yeah.
Well, that's it.
So yeah, that
Go ahead.
sounds like we're going to be wrapping it up then.
I think so.
Yeah, we're good for this week, I think. Yeah.
It's about a good
Cool,
time.
cool. So yeah. Thank you very much to the Cutting Edge for letting us play with the Condor guys that we took a look at the first half of this.
Definitely.
They were a secret until this week where you got to turn in. That's the greasiest fucking ploy ever, by the way.
I'm going to have some fun playing with these this week, I think.
Oh no, did we lose Nigel?
I believe we did.
Oh,
there
no,
he goes.
he's
Say it
there.
back.
Okay.
Hey,
Hey. Just
everyone
Hey,
froze
Nigel.
on me.
Oh, you froze for us. That was scary.
Oh, weird.
Well, we better wrap this up
Oh, I'm
before
frozen.
this thing goes down in flames.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just in the middle of saying thanks to the Cutting Edge for letting us play with the new Condor stuff here and bugging Joe about the fact that it didn't get up on the stream.
And now you've bothered me 3 times about it.
It won't be the last, I'm sure.
Also, shout out for the Patreon. We will have some giveaways coming up very soon, probably within the same month. And we'll start talking about actually doing the next giveaway on Patreon. So, yeah, if you're not subscribed on there, get on there and you'll find out what the giveaways are soon enough. So,
Most definitely.
Mhm. So yeah, that being that, this is Nigel the Smith signing off.
I am who I am. I'm Dennis Vipers.
I am the Iron Joe.
And I'm exile.ca.
We will catch you again next time.
We don't need